Okay, so you want to own a casino. Buy a building, put in some slot machines, roll out a few blackjack tables, and let the math do the rest. The house always wins, right? It sounds like the safest bet in the entire business world. A business where the odds are mathematically rigged in your favor before a single customer walks through the door. Walk into any casino floor on a Friday night and it looks like the easiest money on the planet. Every table is full. The slot machines are chiming nonstop. People are handing over cash by the fistful. You watch that scene and think this place must print money by the hour. Here's the problem. You're looking at the 1 hour of the day designed to make you believe that. The truth is, a casino is not really a gambling business. It's a real estate and licensing business that happens to have dice in it. And once you understand that difference, everything about how a casino actually makes money and how it quietly bleeds money starts to make sense. Let's start with what it costs just to get permission to open the doors. Because in this business, the license is worth more than the building. In most jurisdictions, a commercial casino license isn't something you apply for and simply receive. It's auctioned, bid on, or awarded through a competitive selection process that can take years. In Massachusetts, a single regional casino license sold for over $200 million before a single card was dealt. In Japan, when the country opened its doors to integrated resorts, the winning bid for the Osaka license came with a minimum capital investment requirement of over $8 billion. That's before construction. That's just the entry fee to be allowed to try. Once you have the license, the real spending begins. A large-scale casino resort isn't a building with some slot machines in it. It's a hotel, a convention center, a retail mall, and an entertainment venue stitched together under one roof, because regulators in most major markets require it. Singapore's Marina Bay Sands cost approximately $8 billion to build. The Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas cost around $4 billion. And these aren't outliers. They're the entry price for competing at the top of the market. Try to build something smaller and cheaper, and you'll find yourself competing for the same customer as a resort with an aquarium, a rooftop pool, and a residency show, and losing. Then there's the part almost nobody accounts for correctly. The games themselves aren't free. Slot machines aren't purchased outright the way most people assume. Many are leased from manufacturers under revenue-sharing agreements, where the casino pays a percentage of every dollar that machine generates back to the company that built it. A single high-end slot machine can cost $15,000 to $25,000 to purchase outright, and a casino floor needs hundreds, sometimes thousands of them. Table games need dealers, and dealers need training, licensing, and background checks that can take months to clear per employee. Security alone for a mid-sized casino resort can mean a payroll of hundreds of people running surveillance rooms with thousands of camera feeds, monitored 24 hours a day, because regulators require it and because the entire business model depends on it. Here's where the naive mental model starts to break down. You think the profit comes from people losing at the tables. It doesn't. Not primarily. The profit comes from something far more mechanical, the house edge, a mathematically guaranteed percentage built into every
now makes up close to half of total revenue at major Las Vegas Strip resorts, a dramatic shift from a few decades ago when gambling alone dominated the balance sheet. Why? Because a hotel room doesn't have variance. A restaurant doesn't have a bad night the way a blackjack table can. The casino floor is the loss leader that gets people in the building. Everything else is where the stable, boring, predictable money actually lives. Now, let's talk about what can go wrong, because plenty does. Regulatory risk is the single biggest threat hanging over this entire industry, and it can appear with almost no warning. In 2002, Macau ended a 4-decade monopoly held by a single operator and opened the market to international competition, instantly reshaping the entire regional gambling economy overnight. In 2020, the pandemic didn't just slow casinos down, it closed them completely. Nevada casinos were shut for months. Macau, the largest gambling market in the world by revenue, saw its gaming revenue collapse by more than 96% year over year at the depths of the shutdown. A business with enormous fixed costs, payroll, debt service, maintenance on buildings the size of small cities, and suddenly zero revenue happened to nearly every casino operator on Earth simultaneously. And then there's the ghost casino problem, the same failure pattern that haunts airports and gyms, playing out here in an even more dramatic form. Atlantic City once had 12 operating casinos. By the mid-2010s, 5 of them had closed, unable to compete after regional casinos opened closer to their traditional customer base in neighboring states.
The Revel Casino, a $2.4 billion resort that opened in 2012, filed for bankruptcy twice and closed permanently within just over 2 years of opening, eventually selling for a fraction of its construction cost. Building the biggest, shiniest building in the market means nothing if the regional customer base dries up or a competitor builds something closer to home. There's also the junket system. A structure unique to this industry that quietly determines who actually profits. In markets like Macau, junket operators bring in high-rolling clients from mainland China, extend them credit, and take a cut of the casino's winnings in exchange. For years, this was enormously profitable, until Chinese authorities cracked down on capital flight, and several major junket operators collapsed or faced prosecution, taking a meaningful slice of Macau's gaming revenue down with them almost overnight. The casino doesn't just compete with other casinos. It's exposed to the political and legal decisions of governments it doesn't control, sometimes on the other side of the world. So how does the math actually work in plain terms? A large-scale casino resort with thousands of slot machines and hundreds of tables might generate hundreds of millions of dollars a year in gross gaming revenue. But strip out the payroll for thousands of employees, the debt service on a multi-billion-dollar construction cost, the maintenance on a building that never closes, the marketing spend to keep attracting new customers, the comps handed out to keep whales coming back, and the regulatory compliance costs that never go away, and net margins on the gaming floor alone often land in a modest single-digit to low double-digit range. The house edge is guaranteed. The profit is not. Because everything sitting on top of that edge is expensive, and none of it is optional. The honest answer to whether this business is worth entering depends entirely on scale and access to capital. Most people will never have. A small regional casino with a limited license and a modest customer base can be profitable, but it lives or dies by exactly how close the next competing license gets approved. A massive integrated resort can generate extraordinary cash flow once it's built and stabilized, but it needs years to recoup a multi-billion-dollar upfront investment, and it needs a government that doesn't change the rules halfway through. This is a business built on a guaranteed mathematical edge, sitting on top of a mountain of fixed costs, regulatory exposure, and political risk that can shift overnight. The dice are rigged in your favor. Everything standing between you and collecting on that edge is not.